My name is Doug Chermak. I went to college at the University of Florida, studying chemistry, and graduated in 2001, and went straight through to Berkeley Law School, and graduated from there in 2004 with a certificate in environmental law and a desire to practice environmental law, but it's not so easy to get a job. And sometime in the middle of law school, I got involved working with the Center for Contemplative Mind and Society, helping plan some of these retreats that they do. And the situation worked out that I didn't have a job and they were in need of someone for a full-time position, so I kind of became the law program coordinator full-time, working out of my house essentially in Oakland, because the office for the center is in Northampton, Western Massachusetts. And so I did that for about a year and 3 months. And then I've continued to work for them, not in a full-time capacity, and I've kind of dabbled in some different areas of law. I did some plaintiff side civil rights and employment work, and I also worked at a public defender's office on a death penalty case before I landed here doing environmental law, doing plaintiff side work, mostly water quality. It's the responsibility of industrial facilities in California to have requisite pollution control technologies and practices to help kind of clean up that stormwater before it goes to the bay, to the Sacramento, San Joaquin Delta and the San Francisco Bay. So I do that. We do some Endangered Species Act stuff, some California Environmental Quality Act work. What's nice is I'm litigating, but a lot of the stuff I do is kind of pre-litigation, and which I like. So it's a lot of just kind of settlement discussions and conferences, and a lot of the cases, in fact, none of these cases that I've worked on have ever really gone too far in litigation beyond like a case management conference. But I've continued, as I said, to work for the Center for Contemplative Mind, and that's really been an important project for me. The Center for Contemplative Mind and Society started sometime we just had our 10-year anniversary, so it's about 97, 98, and the mission of the center is to enhance contemplative awareness in key areas of contemporary society to foster a more just, compassionate, reflective society. And what that means is essentially that kind of where people are doing contemplative practice and then kind of doing their work, and sometimes there's a big gap between those, and so the center is kind of sprung up to be able to help people bring that kind of contemplative element, that piece of themselves, into their lives more fully, into their working lives in different areas. So this mission manifests in these different programs. We have an academic program doing a lot of stuff in higher education. There's a youth program. There's a social justice program, and we've done some other things on the side, stuff with philanthropists, stuff with environmental activists, doing a project now with Google, which is pretty cool. And then there's the law program, which is what I've been working on. The law program started doing retreats for, I think the first retreat was in '98 with a group of Yale law students, and then we did a number of retreats each year through about 2001 or two on the East Coast. And then in 2003, the project kind of moved out west and started doing retreats at Spirit Rock Meditation Center in Marin County in 2003. And that's when I actually got involved. I was at 2L, my second year of law school, and I went on this retreat. I had gotten involved with meditation through actually kind of an optional session in this Jewish mysticism class that I took when I was a senior at University of Florida. It was actually a pretty cool thing that it was this optional class, and I think 30 students came to the first time. And by the last of the 4 sessions, it was really done at the pleading of me and a couple friends, because we were so into it. So I had this real strong interest in meditation, and it was really serendipitous to actually run into Charlie Halpern, who was a visiting fellow at the law school in Berkeley, and who mentioned his work with law and meditation and mentioned this retreat that was coming up. So I had a meditation practice, but I hadn't ever really gone to a retreat and done it in a formal way. So going to this retreat in 2003 was, it's probably not unfair to say it was a life-changing experience for me. It was the first time I really, I mean, I had sat in meditation before, but I hadn't spent time in silence and sat in multiple periods during a day. And so that's kind of what I remember. Just, I mean, that, and of course being in a group of lawyers and legal professionals it was astounding in one sense, but to me I just really accepted it, and it felt right that there was actually other people in this profession who were into doing that kind of work. So the retreat was like a Thursday night through a Sunday afternoon, and it was spent mostly in silence, practicing sitting meditation and walking meditation, some movement stuff. We did some yoga and some qigong, which is like a Chinese energy movement practice. And we also spent time in these periods of what I would call intentional conversation. So actually there would be a talk given, and then there would be a question that was prompted by the talk, but a question that was really pointed at our personal experience. So not just like what we theoretically think about this stuff, but like what actually is it like for us in our, I mean, at that time I was a student, but you know, what is it like? What's difficult? But where does your practice fit in? Where would having a practice be useful if you don't have one, or what, you know, might you do differently? And so it was a chance. We had these small group conversations, and it was this amazing opportunity to share myself and have people listen in a way that, I mean, at that time I was about halfway through law school. It was radically different to be able to reflect on the experience of going through that formation process, but with kind of more open ears. And so that was, we had these small group conversations, and then there would be, we'd have a large group conversation, so you got a real flavor of who was in the room and what was going on. Fostered a real sense of community. I think I'm still, from that first retreat, I'm still in touch with some of the folks from that little small group conversation. I've done some programs with them and stuff. So that was my first experience at one of these lawyers' retreats, and it was just, from that day, from coming home, and it was a whole new relationship for me with meditation. So since then, we've done an annual retreat at Spirit Rock. This year, actually, 2 weeks ago, we just did a retreat in New York, so we did 2 retreats this year. And the format of the retreat it's similar to what I just said, in that we still do have small conversations, large conversations. There's talks given, there is meditation, instruction and practice, sitting, walking, there's movement sessions. But I think that the leadership of these retreats has come a long way, and in terms of the way that we actually execute those things and kind of the content of it is a bit more refined, and as we've learned more about ourselves, we've been able to share that through teaching and offering these programs. But as I say that, I'm just thinking it's not just us, because what's so sweet about the retreats is the people who come and the stories that they bring and their lives, because I mean that's ultimately what the retreats are about, is kind of dropping to a bit of a deeper level and sharing with each other, and really kind of gleaning the collective wisdom in the room, and seeing, of course there's teaching, but I think for a lot of people, for me at least, that's what's so remarkable about the retreats, is the stories that people share, and just bringing that back, the tenderness and the realness of that, and bringing that back into my life, and kind of holding that as I come back here to the office and and practice, and knowing that there's other people who are doing that, who are practicing meditation or engaging in some type of contemplative practice, and really wanting to bring that into their life and into their professional life.